Two teams from the same conference, Michigan, Ohio State. Now, what happens if both are undefeated going into that last regular season game in Columbus? Is there a possibility of a rematch in Glendale, Arizona for the national championship game? Well, this is where we usually do our web watch. Well, why don't we bring in the king of the web right now on this subject, Jerry Palm. He's the managing editor of collegebcs.com. Jerry, please tell me there is no way that Michigan, Ohio State would have a rematch in Glendale, Arizona for the BCS championship game. Please.
I can't tell you there's no way, but I don't consider it real likely either. The loser of that game on November 18th is going to fall in the polls. They're not going to be number 2. They're going to be 4 or 5, or it depends on what happens between now and then. So the only way they get back into the title game is in the 2 weeks after that, while they're sitting around on their couches at home eating cheeseburgers. The teams ahead of them lose, and they creep back up in the polls to number 2. Then there's a chance that could happen. Twice before, a team has lost after Thanksgiving and still gotten to play for the title. Nebraska in 2001, Oklahoma in 2003. But the formula back then was not as poll-heavy as it is now, and it makes it a lot harder to do now to lose late and get back in it.
And Jerry loves those poll-heavy formulas. He's made that very clear in the past. Jerry, I want to ask you about the Big East. Obviously, Thursday night, a huge game in terms of the BCS. We get 3 and 5, West Virginia, Louisville. Will the winner of that game, if they go undefeated, be guaranteed a spot in the national championship game?
I don't know about guaranteed, but I think it's really likely. They're in the driver's seat. And the reason that I hedge is because with USC losing, we've entered now a month-long debate over who's more worthy, an undefeated Big East team or a one-loss team for a better conference. And we're going to be talking about that, we in the media and the voters and all of that, for about a month, as long as that situation still exists. And you never know what the voters are going to do. But if the voters liked West Virginia strong enough to make them preseason top 5 and Louisville a preseason top 10, it's hard for me to believe that one of those teams wouldn't be a very strong number 2 at the end of the regular season if they were still undefeated, strong enough to hold off a team from another conference with a loss who might be okay, maybe even better in the computers.
Okay, Jerry, to continue this conversation then, if both of those teams, if they go undefeated, are a likely chance of playing in the national championship game, how about a team like Rutgers? You know, Greg Schiano, the head coach there, they go undefeated. Yeah. Certainly not a preseason top 10 team, but now number 12 in the BCS. If they go undefeated, is it likely they get to the national championship game?
Yeah, that's a little less likely, but, you know, if they beat Louisville next week, I believe that's next Thursday, after Louisville beats West Virginia, Louisville undefeated number 3, that gives Rutgers a big boost in the polls, and they go into Morgantown on the last day of the year, win there. I think it'd be pretty hard to deny Rutgers a shot at the national championship if they're actually able to pull that off. I personally don't think they can do it.